The Nova Scotia Visual Art curriculum fits well with the contemporary model of art as a process of visual inquiry, which is very appropriate given that we want our students to understand what it means to think and work like an artist. What should this practically involve from the perspective of the Nova Scotia Visual Art curriculum? This can be summarised in terms of these key outcomes: independent planning of artistic inquiry, working with and assessing different materials and techniques, developing work from personal observation, experience and imagination, creating work informed by other artists, creating work of personal importance, and critiquing and reflecting on personal work. For many years now, I've observed that the most engaging and motivational visual art teaching is that which comes from one's peers. This has been acknowledged by many theorists. We need to get away from the idea of teacher as narrator, which leads to a lifeless and petrified curriculum. Instead, the teacher must set a context in which peers are seen as valuable sources of ideas and solutions, rather than as competitors. Video technologies such as YouTube can be the protean machines that enable the creation of an environment for students to concretize their ideas and projects with motivation and commitment, and learn to teach one another. The problem with peer modelling experiences in the past is that they could be few and far between, and happen more often by luck rather than by design. Furthermore, these models of good student-artist practice are lost from one cohort to the next. We all need meaning in our lives. I believe that the act of creation is central to this meaning-making. Art is very clearly one way that we can be creative. This creativity and meaning are part of a cycle I call the motivation-meaning cycle. Every part of the cycle is important. Abstract knowledge combines with our individual experience to create the knowledge that feeds the motivation engine, leading to the action and meaning making. Or, to compare it with science, we generate a hypothesis which combines with experimental results to form a theory that is then further tested by experiment, and so the cycle continues. In Bloom's terms of cognition, we move from simply remembering, understanding and analysing to evaluating and creating, ultimately achieving self-actualization, according to Maslow. All parts of the cycle are critical and broadly align with Ian McGilchrist's model of left brain, right brain thinking. To complete the cycle, we must integrate the left with the right. The contemporary model of art as a process of visual inquiry fits well into this motivation-meaning cycle. The artist carries out abstract research, combines it with reflection, and is motivated to acts of making, experimentation, creation, and in so doing produces meaning, and so the cycle continues. When students create videos documenting their work for their peers, that very act forms part of the motivation-meaning cycle. By documenting their work in this way, the artist-student is helped to reflect on the art process and stay motivated in meaning-making. Both the art-making and the video-making are creative acts, invention and reinvention. The viewing of the videos is important too. Students are helped to engage their whole brain in comprehending what it means to think and work like an artist. As it is their peers and not some famous artist or teacher that has made the video, it seems that students are more inclined to raise their own expectations as to what is possible, becoming more ambitious for themselves, which is a key factor in motivation. Motivation is the very engine of the motivation-meaning cycle of the creative process. However, many students do not come to the process with engine running, as it were. Students often need help turning the motivational engine over. This is where the peer modelling videos are so helpful. With a little imagination, the student viewer empathises with the artist peer as they follow them via the video, carrying out the inquiry or artistic experiment. This not only gives the viewer some insight into the art process, but also hopefully creates a little motivation, enough to start the engine, as it were, which, once fed with their own inquiry and its knowledge, reflection, action, experience, and ultimately meaning, completes the motivation-meaning cycle within which the creative process works. As for summative assessment, the student-artist-made video becomes key evidence that the student has met the outcomes of the course. At the end of the course and their final project, students are asked to complete an evaluation form where they are given opportunity to provide evidence that they have met the main outcomes of the course. In the past, this has largely been achieved through links to the students' journals, where they are encouraged to document their making, research and reflections. Now the peer modelling videos powerfully complement these journal posts. They provide an additional and perhaps, in the case of students with reading and writing disabilities, for example, a primary source of evidence. As for formative assessment, simple quiz-style questions about the peer artists' projects can be set that directly help students to see the outcomes that are to be evidenced in their own projects. This formative assessment can then be used by the teacher to give more specific help in subsequent conversations with the student. Please subscribe to the Art Practice Archive on YouTube and check out the work that has been done so far. You'll find resources to help you use these peer modelling videos at the project website, tapa.xyz. You can also find the research on which the project is based. If you'd like to get involved in the project, perhaps helping a student to make a video for the archive, please join our professional learning community for help. Fill out the contact form on the website for an invitation. Also sign up for the project newsletter to keep in touch.